it's like you got to put your stuff, the title of your episode and like all of these things on there for people to find it.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it still has Eric B. Enemy.
That's funny. You know it is recording now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm good with that. All right. So when did your voice start going?
Oh, this morning. Well, I kind of felt it last night. I thought it was just, whatever, a little tired or something.
Yeah.
It was just, it didn't even hurt. I got out of church and I led this week, and one of the songs was a little high, so I thought maybe I just strained it a little bit.
Right.
Man, woke up and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we obviously got plenty of good stories tonight to talk about. We're going to be able to keep these people entertained, and hopefully everything goes smooth. We've got, we'll just live stream it to YouTube. Anyone who wants to join us on there is going to be more than welcome to, obviously. And hopefully some people will come along for the ride, but otherwise, man, I think I'm still the one thing I wish I had more time. I still wanted to look more into the lady who got her teeth taken, like to really learn more about that story in general, because I know we talked about it, but that's one that's just, I want to understand, that's someone we need to get on the show.
We should
get her on to talk about her
lack of teeth.
Her teeth being basically stolen. That seems worth talking about.
Yeah.
The Lifetime Network stole my teeth. So, all right. Well, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and just play us in, and we can get the sucker going.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
That's right, everybody. You get the Horn Show. Tad and Jeff here. You know what? We're live streaming tonight. We don't normally live stream. We normally, film the show, edit it up, put it up. We decided tonight we're going to go ahead and live stream this sucker. So anyone who wants to join us, we will be attempting to keep an eye on the live stream and respond to comments as well. Anyone who wants to jump in there and hang with us and have a little bit of fun. First things first, brother. I know you're a little under the radar. We'll go ahead and touch on that. Your people might hear you. They might like it. You might sound like the illegitimate son of Barry White. Maybe the legitimate son. Honestly, I don't think did you ever do an ancestry test?
You know what? Still don't know who my biological is, so there's always a chance. So.
That's right. Barry White died just to avoid having to pay you out. Devious.
He did not. He did not want anything to do with me, did he?
No, he was like, no thanks. No thanks.
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah, he pulled the shoot. Very, very well played. But yeah, so you are a little under the weather here, so we will we soldier on with the show, but obviously I might do a little more of the heavy lifting tonight just to give that voice a little bit of a rest. But we will have some fun here and looking forward to being able to join us. We are keeping an eye on the chat as well on the YouTube live stream. So if anyone wants to shout us out or talk about anything that they would like to talk about, one thing that we do with this show is that it's completely impromptu. Like we have a list of topics we know we want to talk about, but we haven't talked about them ahead of time. So you don't know what I'm going to say about something. I don't know what you're going to say. We just like send each other the headlines that we want to talk about. And then we find out in real time what each other's opinions are, what we're going to say about something, all of that stuff. And so, same deal. If anyone wants to toss something out at us in the chat, more than welcome to do that as well. And we're happy to weigh in as much as we can. So,
yeah. Hey, and maybe you could give a little shout out to all the people that got us over our 1 millionth view.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely
Yeah.
appreciate everyone out there. So
Yeah, man, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because that might have slipped my mind. You're right. We hit a milestone for our show here. What was that? Yesterday? I think it was just yesterday.
yeah,
That our channel hit its 1 millionth view, and now I think we're already 1.2 or 1.25 million, something like that. So another, whatever it was, 150,000 or so since then, maybe 200,000 by now. But yeah, to break 1 million views is very cool. And I saw something earlier today that said, and I don't know if this is true. So if anyone out there is going to try to attack me and say I'm like, making stuff up to make us sound better or anything, I'll tell you, I read it and it was in a legitimate article. It wasn't just like a random person. It said that less than 10% of all YouTube channels have 1,000 or more subscribers.
wow.
Less than 10% of the millions of, I'm assuming millions of YouTube channels that are out there. Less than 10%. I actually think it was like 8.6% in the particular article that I saw have 1,000 subscribers. And we are significantly over that amount, working on doubling that amount and then going a lot further than that. But we've been growing super fast. We talk about it on the show all the time. The Army grows every day. Yep. And we've definitely been growing very rapidly lately. And that's part of the reason that we wanted to live stream tonight, even though it's not something we normally do, just because we wanted people to kind of have the opportunity to sit in, hang with us, see what we're about, that type of thing. So, yeah. So with that all having been said, very, very appreciative of all of the folks here and many of which have been listening from day one and watching from day one, who have now gotten us over 1 million total views. And it's a staggering number to think about when we started this all a few months ago
Yes.
to where we are now. That 1 million times that people have watched our content. I can't say necessarily 1 million people because a lot of it's the same people that have come back and watched a lot of our content because they follow us closely. Yep. But still 1 million views of our stuff. It's not like we have two people, like each of our mothers are sitting there watching it 500,000 times. It doesn't work that way. It's 1 view per person per piece of content. It doesn't matter how many times you watch it. It doesn't rack up more for us. So, 1 million is a pretty staggering number.
Yeah, we were excited when we had, 30, 40, 50 views. Remember the first time we got 1,000 views. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was exciting,
now it's
man.
like, we have, we're well into, we have some content that's been deep into the 6 figures and, may hit 7 figures. We have plenty that's, 10,000, 15, 20 plus thousand views, all that kind of good stuff. So it's growing quickly, man. And we obviously couldn't do it without all the people that are listening and participating. So
love us or hate us, we'll take your support any which way you want to give it.
That's right. Yeah. Any attention's good attention, apparently. Or like children.
We don't care. We'll take it.
But I will say, overwhelmingly, people have been positive and they enjoy the show and they're extremely supportive of us. And that's super cool. So
yes,
there's a few of the dregs of society as well that show up to say a bunch of horrible things about us, and that's okay. That's all right. They're doing it from the comfort of their own couch, and they've never created anything content wise, or at least most of them. And I will say that I have not ever left a comment on any of their stuff, but they seem to be watching and commenting on some of ours. So you're welcome, suckers. Keep feeding the algorithm for us.
Please, we appreciate it.
So why don't we jump in tonight and just get into controversy essentially right off the top here. We got a lot of stories, got a list of different things we want to talk about. One just, came across, the news desk earlier today. And I sent to you, gosh, I don't know if we chatted more than 10 total words about it. But Brittney Griner, WNBA player Brittney Griner, who most people probably don't even know her from the WNBA. They know her from having attempted to smuggle drugs into Russia and then getting taken prisoner, et cetera, et cetera. And then we had to give away like the Merchant of Death or something like that to be able to get her back. But we need our WNBA players. They're a treasured part. They're part of the fabric of America. We talked recently about Bud Light And the statement from the CEO saying that Bud Light's part of the fabric of America, Anheuser-Busch part of the fabric of America.
Mhm.
Equally, if not more so, the WNBA is certainly part of the fabric of America.
Mm.
And Brittney Griner coming back from Russia after a horrible attempt at drug smuggling, and then plays her first game back. And the arena's like, half full, I think, maybe a little less than half full. And the coach comes out after the game and says like, it's great having Brittney back, but I can't believe that the stadium wasn't completely full for this. Why wouldn't we have a full arena for Brittney Griner coming back? Well, okay. I mean, look, if anyone needs us to interpret it, and they shouldn't, first of all, they're not even a good team. I don't watch the WNBA. I learned that from the article that they're a bad team. But then secondarily, it's like, okay, so the big appeal is that the lady who failed to smuggle drugs into Russia and got caught and got imprisoned and had to be traded away for what is essentially, I don't know where the line is exactly between arms dealer and terrorist, but essentially that was more or less the trade that was made to get her back.
Yeah.
Did you think there was going to be a parade for her when she came back into the stadium or the arena? I guess not. They don't clearly play stadiums, but like,
Sure.
I don't understand what the thinking would be. Why would there have been a full arena for this? Am I missing something? You tell me.
No, I was wondering the same thing. I don't really get it. I'm not like, let's be real. It was minimal stuff that she brought over, and in our country, it really wasn't a big deal. I'm sure in our country, it's probably not even a fine, what she had brought over, but
right.
I just, you go to another country, you're not American, so, or you're not Russian, right? I mean, you're not in America anymore. So why would you attempt to bring this stuff over? It just, like, I get it's not a big deal here, but like, okay, I can't go to another country and just say I'm American. It's cool, right? You know what I mean?
Well, and you know full well that there are people, the travel coordinators, who go through all of the rules and the repercussions and everything for the players and the coaches on what to do and what not to do and how to fit in with the culture and all that stuff. And I just, somewhere in the back of my mind, I have a nagging suspicion that not smuggling hash oil into Russia had to be on the list of things, had to be on the list of what you don't do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe not specifically hash oil. Maybe that was the problem. It just wasn't specifically.
They just weren't clear enough.
Yeah. I mean, you said no drugs, but.
Oh, was that wrong? If anyone had ever told me that was frowned upon, I totally would have done it differently.
Yeah, George Costanza should not have done that.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't have. Now you're in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Now, I mean, obviously there's some political stuff behind that, and we won't really get into all that stuff. But the reason that Russia held her for so long. But I don't know. So you're
right. There's a lot of political stuff. There's 100%. You hit the nail on the head. I don't want to gloss over that. There's a lot of political stuff for why she was held so long. But that doesn't have anything to do with why she wasn't cheered, and like the city. She plays in LA. You really thought the city of LA was just going to drop everything and these were going to be sold out tickets to come see her. Like, I just don't, that seems delusional to me. And that's where I don't understand, like, what is going on that the coach really, like, that's going to be the first thing that you think of. Like, you would think the first thing you would think of is just like, wow, she's back. We're happy to have her back. Like, this is exciting. And instead, it's that the fans somehow let the team down by not. And I do believe, if I saw the stats correctly, I believe they had almost double the amount of tickets sold that they normally have. They play in like a 20,000 seat arena. They normally average, I think, like 5,600 people per game. I mean, they could practically sit on the court. And then this had, like, I think 10,000 out of the 20,000. So it's still a half empty arena, but that's still better than they ever do any other time. So I don't know. I really don't know either. I just, again, like, she's a center for a WNBA team who went to jail for smuggling drugs into a country.
I don't know why there would be this pomp and circumstance for it.
Yeah.
Maybe now, if you're a fan of the Los Angeles Mercury, you're happy and excited to have her because she does average 22 points and 8 rebounds a game. So you're happy to not, be in the worst team in the league. Maybe you're excited for that. I could get that I could understand. But I don't really get, like, what are we celebrating here? I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I like her as a basketball player. I remember her in Baylor, and I was like, she's nasty. She's going to be great. I don't know if she's lived quite up to the hype, but I always enjoyed her time just watching her play. Like, she was one of the first female, I guess, outside your Cheryl Swoops and those types of people. She was like the first one that was kind of like, ooh, we got to watch her. Is she going to dunk tonight? It's
right.
But I don't know. I mean, they are really pushing this WNBA stuff. I mean, and I guess if you have any type of vested interest in it, you're going to do that. But, you pull up right now, you go to your ESPN app, you pull up scores. The first league that's there is the WNBA. And that's not by accident, clearly. Yeah. You have regular NBA going on right now. You have Major League Baseball going on right now. So, you have so much other stuff going on, and they choose to put the WNBA right square there. And maybe it'll work. I don't know. Maybe that's the whole idea, is like, hey, let's get more eyes on this. Maybe we can see the scores of these games, and maybe you'll be interested in wanting to get highlights. But I don't know. It hasn't worked for me yet, but
no.
But I don't suspect you're going after me, so that's fine.
Yeah, we're not the target audience, probably. Yeah. I don't know who is, but we probably aren't. So
I'm guessing we're not.
Yeah.
But good for her. I'm glad she's back. I'm sad we had to give up a terrorist for her, but
hey. Sure. Maybe he got a parade when he came back to Russia.
Probably did.
he probably did have a sold out arena when he came back.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that was kind of interesting and weird, and I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. Is this solely because I'm getting old? And the answer to that is no.
See, that's where I've always landed at. Like, maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know.
I just feel like, I understand the world has changed, right? But this idea that it's like, like you even mentioned earlier, like, oh, it wasn't a lot of drugs that she smuggled into Russia. And it's like, yeah, how is that a thing that has been normalized for people, for society, but then also even for kids, right? You're marketing, all of these leagues market to kids. And yet, it doesn't matter if you're the NBA. We talked last week about, John Morant just being a straight up moron, flashing a gun constantly, no matter how many times he's warned about it, and risking losing hundreds of millions of dollars, just too dumb to stop. Yep. And, we talk about these situations, and it's like, man, you're marketing so much of this to kids, and waving guns around and smuggling drugs into other countries and all this stuff has become so normalized that is, I think, the defense that a lot of people would have would just be, well, it wasn't that much. And it's kind of like, okay, so she wasn't a kingpin, so that makes it okay. And look, I understand that people's attitude toward drugs has certainly, loosened up a lot over time. And I got no issue with that. That's fine. But this idea that it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel weird about it. Maybe, but I don't think I would have felt different when I was younger. Like, so I don't think age has a whole lot to do with it. I just think that it's kind of like, I think what it is what your perception of right and wrong is. Mm-hmm. And nowadays it seems like people do not have a real, like, strong direction of what they believe right and wrong is. Everything is very fluid. Right. And I'm not saying that as a pun about, the Bud Light controversy or different, transgender things, but everything is fluid. Right. And including seemingly just kind of basic ethics and morality. And the idea that, like, that anyone would try to smuggle drugs into not only a foreign country, this wasn't like Jamaica, this was Russia. Like, global public enemy number one, almost maybe 1B behind China. But regardless, like the worst place you could go. And then it becomes the government's responsibility to bail her out and has to give up a terrorist to be able to do it, and an arms dealer. It just that part, I just something just doesn't click for me. Maybe it does for other people. God bless you, but it doesn't for me.
Yeah, that's what I would want to know, is how anyone justifies what we gave up for someone who broke the law in another country.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't get it either. I mean, it wasn't. That's what I say. I guess when I said, it's a small amount, meaning like she shouldn't have done 15 years.
No,
right. I mean, that's I guess what I'm talking about. But still, at the same time, it's like, come on, you can't get this stuff in Russia. You're Brittney Griner,
and you can't go for a few weeks or a month without it either. You just can't you can't say, oh, I'm just not gonna. It's like if I go to I don't know, Japan, maybe I'm not going to be able to get a certain type of food that I like to eat. Maybe if I eat I don't know, Frosted Flakes every morning, I might not be able to get that in Japan. Okay, can I go a little bit of time without it? Do I need to say well, it doesn't matter, even if it's against the law? I'll put my life at risk. I'll put my teammates' lives at risk. I'll put everything and create a government and global issue because I'm so spoiled that I just should have this because I want it. I don't know. It seems crazy to me.
Here's the other thing too, and again, I don't follow the WNBA, so I have no idea. Right?
Yeah,
she was caught with drugs. Is there not some drug deal in place in the WNBA that says if you're caught with drugs, if it's in your system, you're suspended? I don't know. Are they considering her not, her being in jail all this time, his time served for the WNBA? Where's the WNBA at? Why are they not stepping up saying, hey, this was horrible. We're marketing this, like you said, to young women. We don't want them thinking it's okay to bring in drugs to another country. We don't want them thinking drugs in general is right. Yeah. Where's her suspension for the WNBA? Maybe she served it. I don't know. Again, you brought the topic up. I wasn't quite sure we were going to talk about it, so I haven't done a whole ton of research on it. But where's the suspension for the WNBA for having drugs? I mean, clearly she had them because she was in jail for it. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, is that one of those things where behind the scenes, they just kind of felt like, oh, well, it's okay because she already had to serve time in a Russian prison. So that makes it okay. The thing that I saw, and this is kind of, I thought this was about this issue, but it wasn't. Brittney Griner had an issue back in 2015 and got suspended by the WNBA. She pled guilty to misdemeanor disorderly conduct and had to enter a diversion program, and supposedly accepted responsibility for actions and was complying with the court order to attend domestic violence counseling.
Yeah, that was against her wife.
Yeah, and she served a 7-game suspension from the WNBA for domestic violence.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're celebrating this. We're celebrating a domestic abuser.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Fair is fair, right? I mean,
I know. I'm with you. This double standard, it just gets under my skin. And again, I don't care. Playing the WNBA, I'm not going to watch a single game of the WNBA. I don't know that there would ever be a reason for me ever to watch a game in the NBA, but domestic abuse, she pled guilty, right? I mean, to something, and we're celebrating this. So I need to pack the arena for someone who has pled guilty to charges that stem from domestic violence. I don't know the full domestic
story
violence
there either,
and drug smuggling.
Yeah,
domestic violence and drug smuggling. But let's pack the arena. Let's welcome her back. This isn't about Brittney Griner. I mean, again, this is I just feel like this is the thing. People always get lost very easily. We got to be like Hansel and Gretel, and we got to leave all the little breadcrumbs for everyone to follow what we're saying, because this is not about Brittney Griner. This is about the attitude toward drug smuggling and domestic violence and terrorism and all of these things that people have. And even a bigger issue than that is the attitude toward accountability.
Yeah.
And the idea that there shouldn't be accountability or doesn't need to be accountability. I like you said, fair's fair, right? So domestic violence is domestic violence. It doesn't matter if it's woman on woman, man on woman, none of that stuff, right? Everybody's equal. So it's the same. Drug smuggling, same deal, right? I mean, again, if Ja Morant's waving a gun, that's not good. Neither is, Ja Morant waving a gun did not cost us a terrorist that we captured. Ja Morant waving a gun did not make us as a government give up an arms dealer, a Russian arms dealer, right? So like, come on, man. I don't know. Something seems to be missing for some reason. Something's not connecting for me. And the only thing that people can say in defense of this is just to express a casual attitude about it.
Absolutely. And actually make her out to be the victim, which is insane to me. Like, nobody's like saying, oh, well, poor Ja Morant, like he just has really bad friends and his friends made really bad decisions for him. Everyone is blasting this dude. And theoretically, all he is just an idiot who likes to wave guns around on Instagram Live with his other idiot friends,
Yeah. Just an incredibly stupid person. That's all.
Yeah,
he's never shot anyone that we know of.
But no,
more to come.
Who knows? That's right. I mean, but like you have everyone coming out and blasting, and I haven't heard anyone, outside of maybe some, some far right people saying, but I don't hear anyone on ESPN or,
nobody's
NBA
touching that.
TV coming out and saying, hey, I don't hear, Stephen A or Jalen. I don't hear any of them saying, hey, you know what, Brittney Griner, that was really, really stupid of you to bring in drugs.
Yeah.
To a country that has a zero drug policy. I don't get it, man. If we're going to be equal in everything, let's be equal in everything, man. And I'm all for being equal in everything. I'm all for it. But when we need to hold everyone accountable, everyone needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose this, man.
No. And it's so funny because, we like, you're exactly right. Everybody wants accountability for everyone else.
Yes.
Then when it comes time for them to be accountable, they're a victim. And I just, that doesn't work. And man, it's so funny because, we've a lot of viewers that are going to watch and listen to this may be new to our show. And a lot of them have come to us from this recent clip that I don't know what's considered viral nowadays. I mean, at the time of this recording, I think this one clip has been seen, I don't know, 750,000 times. It'll probably be 1 million sometime in the next day or two. And then, we'll see where it goes beyond that. So for us, that's viral. I don't know what people consider viral. Is 1 million views viral? That feels pretty viral to me.
Sure.
But regardless, a lot of new subscribers have come to us having seen this video. And the video is talking about the Bud Light controversy. And the number of people that just assumed that we were like some sort of hateful, phobic bigots for even talking about the controversy, not even knowing our thoughts on the controversy, because they never actually watched the whole segment to see what we're about. They watched a clip, and in the clip, the only thing that happened was I read a statement from the CEO of Anheuser-Busch. I read his statement.
Yes.
and then at the end, the last part I said was, what the hell is he trying to say here? And the reason was because he was invoking sports fans and the military and first responders and everything else to try to make people feel guilty for putting Bud Light on the shelf, basically. Well, I guess I should say getting it off the shelf. Getting rid of Bud Light, not drinking it. And so everybody jumped to conclusions. And you know what? Some of the things that I heard were so fascinating to me. A lot of focus on the fact that we're two white guys. No understanding of how that's relevant. Don't understand in any way, shape, or form. So you mean to tell me if two Asian dudes were on this show and we read that statement, it would be any different? Two black dudes on the show would have been any different? A black dude and an Asian lady doing it would be any different? Of course not. And none of it matters. But yet that's what they focus on. And then it was that we have beards or that we're bald. Like all of these things somehow became little indicators to them that we must be, Trump lovers, far right, blah, blah, blah. And it's so most people on here, and we got thousands and thousands of comments. Obviously, I try to keep up with the comments. We try to make sure that we are engaging with people to the best of our ability. But sometimes I did have to set a few people straight and just say, listen, man, you're way off base. Whatever you're talking about, hateful bigotry and all of this kind of stuff, great. You can say all of those things, but first you have to educate yourself on who we are and what we're about. Because if you don't, then you're no better than the people that you think we are. Because what you're doing is you're coming in and you're making a judgment. You're throwing insults and saying all kinds of hurtful things based on what our appearance and what you think we might be about. And that's it, which tells me you're coming from a place of complete ignorance. You know nothing. And what's the difference between that versus someone else doing it about gay people or trans people or anything else? Not any better. So you came here to be judgmental and you proved that you're the same as the people you thought you were in a position to judge.
Yes.
And it's just crazy to me, man.
No,
why is the world the way it is?
Well, I think because everyone's opinion is of moral superiority, right? So they're,
sure seems it.
I can say that, I've seen some stuff where if you, oh gosh, I'm going to wade into some waters that, just some stuff I've seen, right, on, so let's just say Twitter. We'll just pick a random, black guy on the right?
Yep.
Somehow white people on we'll call them the left, can call them every name in the book and post this stuff online, and somehow they're still living. I don't understand. I could not imagine the stuff that they say, but they think because what they value, these other people value, that gives them the right to say whatever they want. It just blows my mind that these people think that they can say the racist and hateful remarks that they say because, well, I'm on the other side and that's okay. And it seems to be for the most part.
Right.
I don't
somehow it is.
I don't see their stuff getting taken down. I don't see, I don't see their obituaries in the paper. I don't see any of this stuff. And I'm not condoning violence, of course, but I just couldn't imagine in a public setting you saying that to someone, even if they're on the right or the left side. I can't imagine you and that not going punished, unpunished.
Yep.
It just blows my mind. But I think that's just the mindset that people have. I'm correct in this, you're defending a person who's transgender, which we, again, watch the show, listen to the show. We support Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
We support him.
Yeah, our opinions are out there. Unlike other people, we're transparent. We literally post whole segments and we say what they are so that people can go and watch them. It's a couple of minutes of your time to educate yourself. That's it.
So, we support his business endeavors. His other stuff is really his business and nothing that I want to be involved in. I don't care. I don't want to be a part of your day in the life of a female. I don't want to be a part of that. But if you want to make your money, right? But so you're okay with that appearance, but then you're going to come on and blast our appearance or someone else's
Right.
appearance. It just doesn't make sense. Like, we're skinheads. Listen, we're bald. If we could have hair, we would have hair.
I have long flowing locks if I could.
I used to have long flowing locks. Nobody believes me, I promise you, but I used to have long flowing locks. I can't help it. So
Yeah. Yeah,
But I don't
like,
care.
we're victims. We're victims here.
no, yeah,
Something
we're,
was taken from us.
exactly. Sue whoever this father of mine is, you know.
But again, here's the problem, right? If we say a thing about us being victims because something was taken from us, then, and we're saying that tongue in cheek, right?
Sure.
But if we said that, then people would say like, oh, and everything's been given to you because you're white men and you have this and that. And it's kind of like, okay, man, like, look, what do you not find judgmental?
Right.
Because if it was, okay, so if I had blonde hair, what am I, like, I'm Aryan Nation, I have my head shaved, so I'm a neo-Nazi, I grow a beard, I'm a redneck, what, how do people come up with these symbols of like what every person automatically gets distilled down to by looking at them? And yet, again, you mentioned it on our show. I mean, we're transparent about our thoughts and feelings. We literally created a whole show to talk about them. So we don't keep anything a secret. We're not going on making anonymous comments on other people's posts and then trying to like be a tough guy. We're saying, no, this is what we're about. If you aren't, we're cool with that.
Yeah.
We can have a conversation about it.
Sure.
Like, no issue. And the rule that we have, and I reminded people several times about it in the comments, is you can believe anything you want to believe. You can say anything you want to say, as long as you're respectful. Because if you're here and you're talking about our stuff, you're a guest. So you need to show respect to your host. If you don't, then we show you the door. Outside of that, as long as you're respectful, I don't really care what you believe, because many people probably wouldn't believe this. We're not a particularly political show. And we're not out here. It's not about left versus right or Republican and Democrat, red state, blue state, all kinds of these stupid things. There's no bigotry or hatred or phobias or whatever else. We live by one law, and that's the law of common sense. That's it. And if you think our common sense is different than your common sense, then don't listen to us. It's that easy. It isn't hard. Like, the number of people, and I will say 9 out of 10 people that leave comments are very supportive. They're all about it, whether they exactly agree with us or not, or whether we exactly agree with them or not. It's still a perfectly good experience. And then you have the other 10%, 5%, 2%, whatever it is, of people who are either outwardly attacking us, or in some cases going way too far about things that they may be saying about trans people or something. Like, they may be right-wing people who are going way off to the other side and saying a bunch of hateful things. Yeah. And you'll see in the comments that I have said things like, whoa, I can't agree with you there. That's too far, man. I'm not down with that. But, this, and this. Or I'll tell them, hey, no, we've defended Dylan from the beginning. This isn't a Dylan thing at all. This has nothing to do with him. We're not with that. Here's what we're about. And this idea that people just feel so emboldened is crazy, because it's the type of thing, I've always said, like, even over the phone, people can talk tough. Man, it's a whole different world when they're sitting across the table from you. And, we know about just the internet and, all of these things now, that everybody's like the tough guy who wants to, mouth off and say all kinds of crazy things. And my thing is, by all means, say anything you want to say, but know what you're talking about first. Yeah. Like, have watched the segment, know what we're about, and then be able to have an intelligent back and forth to say, hey man, I watched the segment. I didn't agree with you on this, but I liked this. And then we can go back and forth, and you might make some good points, right? We don't know what we're saying. This show isn't scripted. So there may be things where we go back and listen to it and go, shoot, okay, yeah, I guess I probably could have said that differently. Or, yeah, man, good point. In the moment, I was just flying off at the handle, and we do the show sometimes for 2+ hours, and we don't know what we're going to say, and we take 0 breaks. So we're just going nonstop. Sometimes things might get said and we think, okay, later, we might listen to it and go, yeah, we could have made that point a little better, or, whatever. And that's just part of life. But have a conversation about it, man. People are such weirdos out there. on both sides, by the way. See, people are going to listen to that statement. They're going to hear me say, people are such weirdos out there. And they're going to say, yeah, those right-wing people, he's exactly right. And then the other people are going to say, yeah, those liberals, he's exactly right. No, all of you are nuts. You're all crazy. Assume that you're crazy and then try to prove otherwise.
Exactly right. Yeah. We're again, we've never asked each other our political preferences. I don't know how you vote. You have no clue how I vote. We've known each other for 20 plus years. It never once has that conversation ever come up. So no, we're the furthest thing from a political show, but you will get common sense. Like it or don't like it, you will get common sense. And I'm sorry, that's what we are trying to accomplish with the show. There's got to be a little common sense in this world, and not everything has to be far one side, far the other side. There's a middle somewhere, and that's what our hope is, always to bridge that gap between lunatics on each side.
That's right. We're the center of the tug of war that goes on between absolute maniacs in the world, and and we're playing our part and putting ourselves in the middle, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, but the bottom line is we don't mind the conversation. We think the conversation's interesting. And and sometimes we talk about controversial stuff because we don't care. Like, we'll talk about any topic. There's nothing that we're going to say like, I'm scared to talk about that because I don't want to offend someone. I don't really care if someone gets offended. Like, we know we're not trying to offend people. We're not trying to be outrageous. We're looking at it from a common sense perspective. If that offends you, then chances are this wouldn't have been a good show for you to listen to regardless. You shouldn't be watching us. Like that. It's that simple. Yeah. And we talk a ton of sports and other things too, that guess what? Here, you want to find the most political and divisive thing that we're about. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. You're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's the most divisive thing that happens between us. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. You're exactly right.
So simple, man. And the problem is that, like, the world is way simpler than people make it out to be. Like, if you come at it from the perspective of, I need to live my life the best way that I can. If I only care about my life 98% of the time, and then 2% of the time I care about other people's lives, but maybe I care about it that 2% of the time in a way that makes me want to help them or improve them in some way, or make life a little easier for them in some way, you don't have any problems at all. You have a very low stress life outside of just the normal things that we, may all have with family and work or whatever else. But instead, we spend 30% of our time paying attention to our own lives. We pay 70% of the time wanting to figure out what anyone else thinks or feels or believes in, and find ways to attack it to make ourselves feel better. But meanwhile, all you have to do is boost the amount of time you spend focusing on improving your own life. And that's the thing that will make you feel better, not attacking other people.
Yeah, 100%. That's it, man. Boundaries.
Yes.
Set some boundaries in your own life, Yeah.
Hugely important.
Very.
Go play with your kids or something, man. Don't quit looking for people to argue with.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So I don't want to digress too far here. We're going to shift on the fly here a little bit, if you don't mind, man. Sure. We had some stuff, again, we've kind of already, we touched already on the Washington Commanders and that sale. So I don't think there's a whole lot really that need to be, talked about there. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be finalized, soon, but it has to go to the owners now, and we'll see what the owners do. But Washington looks like they'll be in new ownership hands at least. So skip over that. And I thought this one thing, we don't have to spend a lot of time with this, but I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing. Cars and some changing things happening in vehicles. AM radio is now going to start being removed from vehicles. Ford, BMW, Volkswagen, Tesla, and other automakers are eliminating AM radio from some new vehicles. And that's a big change. People don't think about AM radio that much anymore, but for a long time, that was radio. That was it. That was what you had. And so, that idea that, we're seeing that change is really, really, really surprisingly a substantial swing for people, because even though everyone thinks that nobody really listens to AM radio very much, there are 4,185 AM radio stations in the United States. So you tell me, if nobody listens to AM radio, how are there 4,185 AM radio stations out there? And when you think about the amount of revenue that they generate from ad sales and things like that, well, you've just killed that industry, because who's going to want to advertise if you can't be in vehicles, right? I mean, that's really where you make your money. I mean, gosh, the vast majority of listens and, people listening is going to be in the car. So yeah, I thought that was kind of a crazy thing to think about, just as things are evolving.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It just, end of like something. I mean, we've all been driving before Sirius XM, radio, trying to find the football game as we're traveling home after a trip or something. And you flip on that AM station, and the stations that you listen to or that you come across, I mean, they are the wildest, the craziest things. You've got, the Mexican Spanish station, and then next thing you know, you've got, a Baptist preacher. And then the next thing you know, you got some sort of classical music going on, and then there's some talk show. It is just the hodgepodge of radio. It is quite fascinating. I mean, I've never been in a place driving where I've gotten amazing reception on AM. So I never understood why they could never strengthen the AM, the signal on the AM stations, but I don't know. Apparently it's not. So I guess I'm only guessing here that a lot of this has to do with the electric cars, because I think I remember reading somewhere or hearing something that kind of interferes somehow with it.
Yeah, apparently it does. Electric vehicles, I guess the interference from the way the battery motors work and stuff will affect the AM signal. And so, a lot of these manufacturers are looking at it kind of saying like, well, why in the world are we going to continue to even put AM in the car? Now, I don't know how much work it is to put AM.
I was wondering how much you
have a car radio. I don't know. But regardless, I think that's a big part of it, is that, hey, it's probably not going to be very functional anyway. Let's just get rid of it. But, I think, to give you just kind of a frame of reference, radio in total pulled in $11 billion in advertising last year in the United States. Of that 11 billion, 2 billion of it came into AM radio stations. So, I mean, it's still solid. What's that? I don't know, 18% or so of all volume, billions of dollars a year.
I mean, that's not nothing. Yeah, no. I think $2 billion they were gotten revenue. I mean, and that's out of how many stations? Would you say 5,400?
It was 4,185 stations.
And that seems like a pretty good, pretty big revenue number for 4,000 stations. I'm
double checking that number right now because I had it up in front of me, and I don't want to have said the wrong thing and have people freaking out over it. It was, 4,185 AM stations.
And they've generated $2 billion.
And that's considered a failing business.
That's... Dang. I mean, that it will be, honestly, if they start taking them out of all of them, because I got to imagine 98% of people listening to AM radio have to be listening into the car, right? I mean,
it's a staggering number. And there's two things. So Ford ran some numbers, and they found that only about 5% of in-car listening in Ford vehicles, 5% was AM radio. But even that is still a pretty substantial number, So they say that 82 million Americans still listen to AM stations every month. So that's still a lot of people that are tuned in to that.
I mean, you imagine, like anything that has 82 million subscribers sounds pretty good. Right?
Yeah. I mean, isn't like the emergency broadcast system, doesn't that run on AM? Like,
I thought so. It certainly sounds like it when it comes on. Right. It comes on my TV. It's like, why is this quality so terrible?
It's like someone has to be like cranking a machine to make it
Yeah.
make this noise.
Like blows my speakers out with the noise, and then it's like following counties. All right.
Right.
Was that my county that's tornado? I can't hear you.
Should I evacuate? Should I not evacuate? Oh no.
Crap, I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, so they say about 40% of AM stations have news, talk, or sports formats. 11% are oriented to specific ethnic groups, and 11% are religious. About a third of AM outlets play music, mostly oldies, Spanish, or other less popular genres. So yeah, that's the deal. Apparently, 1 out of 5 AM listeners are Ford owners. So that's an interesting stat. 1 out of 5 AM radio. What's that?
Considering Ford said only
5% of people. Yeah.
But 1 out of 5
That's
are
right.
Ford owners.
So 1 out of 5 AM radio listeners are Ford owners, and Ford is getting rid of AM. Not out of every vehicle right away, but out of a lot of them as they start coming out with them.
I would love to know the median age for AM listening too.
Yeah, I might be somewhere here. I could try to look it up. I don't know it, but I'll see if I can find it.
That would be interesting.
I can tell you that out of radio listening in general, AM and FM combined make up 60% of all in-car radio listening. Satellite radio makes up 16% of in-car listening. And then people's own, like drivers' own phones, stuff that they, would put out would be music from their phones at 7%, and then podcasts and YouTube music videos at 4% each. So, plenty of people, obviously. I kind of thought it might be more people streaming from their phones, but it's only about 7%.
Yeah. I mean, geez, remember the whole big thing when Sirius and XM were going to merge, how everyone was like totally against it because they were going to be taking away, everything. And now it doesn't seem like anyone really is that big into it. I mean, FM, AM, FM, all those were so concerned about losing. No,
it's a monopoly and they're going to kill us.
Yeah. No, doesn't seem to be.
No, it's really not. Doesn't happen that way.
While you were looking this up, while you were talking, I was looking up something, and I found. Do you know? You ever hear of Mark Levin? He's
name sounds familiar, but
he's
I'm not
like
familiar.
A conservative, like talk show host.
Okay,
like pretty extreme right wing, right?
Okay. So
of course he had to chime in. The automobile is essential to liberty. Right wing. Right here it is. Right wing talk show. Mark Levin told his listeners last month, "It's freedom. So the control of the automobile is about the control of your freedom. They finally figured out how to attack conservative talk radio." So apparently, according to Mark Levin, who I'm pretty sure is on FM radio, not AM radio. Maybe he is on AM. I have no idea. Is saying that now the reason they're doing this is to attack conservative talk radio. Again, there's the far right.
Yeah.
And
who knows if he's right? I mean, he could be right. Like we can't just rule that out. Like I would like to see stats pulled, and I don't have them, on the number of conservative talk shows on AM radio versus the number of liberal, if you want to say that, talk shows on AM radio. Because you do kind of have a tendency to think about it as being more conservative shows that you would find on things like AM radio. But I'd be very curious to know what that split is.
Yeah, I guess. I guess so. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think they figured out how to attack your freedoms by getting rid of AM radio. I definitely don't think that.
But but aren't they? There's no, right wing. I mean, Fox has their own station, right? I mean, all these places. I know there's one in DC, if I'm not mistaken. There's a DC station that seems to play pretty much right wing stuff, but. So I don't know. I didn't know that. Maybe he is correct. Maybe all of the people go on AM and listen to their talk show, at least for 1 mile, because after that it's It's completely
Lose
gone.
that signal right away.
Don't go in any any place that has trees
Yeah.
or tall buildings.
God forbid it's a cloudy day.
Yeah, oh yes, and can't be cloudy day.
All right. Well, anyway, so they're stealing your freedom right out of your car.
There we go.
So keep
You
an
heard it
eye
here
on
first.
That's right. You used to have to worry about people breaking your car and stealing your radio. Now they've just figured out you can keep the radio. We're going to steal the AM right out of it. And if we do that, we're taking your freedom. It's even better than taking the whole radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if cars will be more expensive now with AM in it. Guess that's a way to market your car.
Pay for an option. Can I option in AM radio, please?
Radio.
I want to make sure I have that.
Even your used cars, well, you can put that as a feature.
That's right.
Comes with AM radio.
That's right. For those of you who might still want to have your freedom, this 2008 Toyota Tercel is going to be the thing to get you there.
Asking 15,000 OBO.
This Freedom Mobile still has original AM in it. All right, let's move on. Let's get the heck out of this. Thought this was kind of a story worth talking about. I'm not going to talk about it very long, but thought it was worth talking about. A Florida man living underwater won't resurface even after breaking the record. So for all you kids out there listening who want to know what discipline is like, this guy is a university professor in Key Largo, Florida. He broke a record for the longest time living underwater without depressurization. He did this weekend at a Florida Keys lodge for scuba divers. The gentleman's name is Joseph Deturi. He has lived in what they're calling Jules Undersea Lodge, situated at the bottom of a 30-foot deep lagoon in Key Largo. He's been there for 74 days, and that's the record. The previous record was 73 days, 2 hours, and 34 minutes. He's at 74 days, and he doesn't plan on coming up. He's going to stay at the lodge until June 9th when he reaches 100 days and completes an underwater mission dubbed Project Neptune 100. Could you live underwater for 100 days?
No. Would you live underwater for one evening? So is this a Jules Undersea Lodge, an actual place that they take you down and you can
I can only assume so. Yeah. I mean, he says it's residing in Jules Undersea Lodge, situated at the bottom of a 30-foot deep lagoon. So I don't know if the Undersea Lodge is just the thing that he's staying in, that it's part of a bigger resort, or if the whole place is a bunch of these undersea lodges. I'm not too sure.
Oh, that's wild. No, not at all. I would have zero desire to do that. I don't even think one day. Oh,
it seems weird.
Just imagine looking out. I mean, I don't know. It's in a lagoon, so maybe there's not much stuff there. But I mean, I know there's definitely alligators that hang around those places, and I don't know, man. I mean, what do you do if you get a crack? What just a random storm pops up and. Oh,
I mean, you're 30 feet down. I mean, that's pretty far. So maybe you don't even know when there's a storm. Like, you might not even really have too much awareness. I mean, here's what I can tell you. I just looked this up. Jules Undersea Lodge is an American hotel located in Key Largo, Florida, and is the only underwater hotel in the United States. It's 30 feet deep on the ocean floor, and guests have to scuba dive to get to their rooms. The hotel is located at the bottom of the Emerald Lagoon and was opened in 1986. Yeah, that's what I want. If you're going to put me in an underwater hotel, put me in one that was built in the mid 80s. That's
right.
That's exactly.
That's
extra asbestos, pleed.
Yeah, the height of quality craftsmanship.
I mean, good Lord, opened in 1986. Jules has over 10,000 overnight guests in its 30 years of operation. Today, many certified divers who are interested stay in the Jules Underwater Lodge, and some who meet the skill and bottom time requirements and participate in underwater experiments in the Marine Lab can elect to receive specialty diver recognition from Paddy or Naui as a recreational aquanaut. It's the only recreational aquanaut qualification available worldwide. So doesn't that mean it's just not a thing? Like if it's the only one in the world, that just means it isn't a thing. It's a thing you made up. Like, like if I just if I saw a little kid and I grabbed like a piece of paper and I crumpled it up in my hand and I gave it to him and I said, "This is very special. It's the only one like it in the world." Well, I mean, yeah, it is, but that's because it's just junk that I handed you. Like this, it's basically that, except they made it into a certificate to say that you have this aquanaut certification.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I suppose.
Yes.
What is art?
Well, they say aquanaut hotel guests must scuba dive to reach the facility, and a nearby land base offers diving lessons for people who are unfamiliar with the activity. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the activity, are you staying in an underwater hotel that you have to scuba dive down to? Like, tell me more about the scuba diving. I've never done this before.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Just put this tank on, put this on, just swim down there.
We took our family vacation here.
And
tell me, what is scuba diving?
Yeah. I'd like to stay down here.
Good Lord.
Like, how
they say years ago,
down there? Do you not?
Years ago, non-scuba diving guests were taken down to the lodge breathing air pumped down from the surface through a long hose similar to a garden hose. But this practice was discontinued, probably after multiple deaths.
Yeah.
And now all guests must scuba dive to the lodge entrance 5 fathoms below.
God, my gosh. I mean, do you travel down there with a suitcase, or are you just down there in the clothes you came with?
That's true. Yeah.
You don't brush
swim in your suitcase down there. You gotta scuba down. You like how's my carry-on bag coming down here with me? I strap that across and just hope it's watertight. Do they laminate my suitcase before I go down? Like, how do you seal this? Like, how could I possibly stay here for 100 days? You don't have a washer and dryer down there. I mean, there's no way. There's nothing.
I mean, if I'm down there for 2 days, I mean, I'm going to need to brush my teeth. Like, what am I doing for food? Do you just go down there for a couple hours? I don't.
Yeah, I don't think they have like a long tube that they can just like drop a rotisserie chicken down to you or something. Like, I don't know how it could work.
I'm going to need to know more about this at some point.
We have to look this up.
We're going to do an episode from the Jules Undersea. Not sure how the Wi-Fi is there.
The Wi-Fi might be hard at the bottom of a lagoon. I'm actually on their website right now, and they do media visits as well. So hey, this is for us right here.
There we go.
Media visits to the lodge are on a 24-hour timetable. 2 overnight media guests. So this is essentially a plan made for you and I.
Mm-hmm. 2
overnight media guests at the Jules Undersea Lodge would be $2,475 to stay for 24 hours. 3 guests would be $3,600, and 4 overnight media guests would be $4,725. Jules mission directors will bring down 1 iPad, 1 laptop computer, and personal cell phone. You must let us know when you make your media reservation exactly what media equipment you'll be needing, as there may be extra charges.
So
there you go.
Is my cell phone going to work under there?
I mean, that's a really good question. I cannot pretend to know the answer.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm seeing because I feel like there should be. Look, I didn't design their website. Perhaps a child did, basically looking at it. Or that website may have been built when the lodge itself was built in 1986. But
they anticipated.
But the one thing that I think you're missing when you have the only underwater lodge in America, there is not a frequently asked questions section in any of the tabs across the front. And I feel like that's where you should start with this type of a thing. People are going to have questions.
I guess that's the whole thrill of it, I guess. You just go not knowing what you're getting yourself into.
You definitely don't know.
So I don't contact. Maybe we could contact them and say, hey, we talked about you on our show. We need to know a little bit more.
Yeah, could somebody come on and answer some questions? And
they
they
have a
show
gift
two old
shop, I
people
see.
sitting here. Two old people who this picture may have been taken in 1993, it looks like. Mel Fisher and his lovely wife, Dolores, or Dio. So shout out to Mel and Dolores Fisher if you're out there. I'm guessing based on the age you were in this picture, you may not be out there. But if you are, might have to reach out to you and see how, get you on the show to talk about what it was like being there.
Oh my gosh.
But listen, this is not just for your standard maniac. Guests of the lodge have included many celebrities, including Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, rock stars Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, and John Fishman of Phish.
Wow.
Yeah. So Steven Tyler decided to, and now what is visit like? I mean, did he spend the night? Did he go down there for an hour? Or did he just, was he like, well, I don't want to speculate on his condition at the time that he might have found himself at the bottom 30-foot lagoon.
Sure.
But I will say this, I'm looking at a blueprint of what the lodge looks like.
Bro, I'm on the blueprint right now. I was just going to say
Yeah, I mean, this is like a standard apartment, basically. Two bedrooms, a wet room. I feel like kind of a wet room is not what I want. If I'm staying in an underwater lodge and you tell me this is the wet room, like I already think this is not for me. I want the dry room.
Yeah, give me the driest room possible.
But they have a common room, so that's good for entertaining, of course.
What do they have in that common room, Tad?
Well, glad you asked. They have a microwave. They have a refrigerator.
Okay.
And then for entertainment, because again, you don't want to go nuts down here.
Sure.
They have a TV, VCR, and stereo.
Presumably,
Apparently, they're
only
all
picks
together
up-
because it just says TV/VCR/stereo. So it's like an all-in-one, like little unit or something. It's like a 13-inch TV with a built-in VCR and a little speaker that you can plug into it for your stereo.
Gremlins 1 and 2.
We had 3, but it was in the wet room and got damaged.
It's in the wet room. We really should consider upgrading that wet room.
We just can't dry it out. It just
So we just labeled it a wet room.
We were going to call it the mold room, but if we found out that was slowing down people wanting to stay in it, so we just call it the wet room. I mean, there's a toilet. Surprisingly, though, the thing that I noticed, and if you're looking at the blueprint, you see the same thing. There's a staggering number of sinks.
There really is 1, 2.
Like there's a double sink on the one side in the common room, which I don't even know why you do that unless that's a bar. And then you have no sinks in the wet room, weirdly enough, even though there is a toilet, but there's no sink. And then you have 2 other sinks, one in each bedroom, but not bathrooms.
But no bathrooms. Yeah. If you can get 1 in there, you can't get 2 bathrooms in there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, look, beggars can't be choosers when it comes to underwater living, I guess. And
I suppose not.
Jules Undersea Lodge does it better than anybody.
I would love to visit their gift shop.
Not if you saw that picture of it. The picture that they show that is the gift shop might also be the wet room.
Oh my gosh.
Let me just say, just to clear the air here, shout out to Jules Undersea Lodge. All right. We don't want any lawsuits coming or anything. They run a top tier, real classy operation there at Jules Undersea Lodge. For anyone who wanted to sleep at the bottom of the water, if you want to end up sleeping at the bottom of a lagoon and you don't want to die, or at least not die before you do it, you might die when you get down there. Sure. But by all means, you go to Jules Undersea Lodge. The thing that I like about it, it's classy. You're planning something for your significant other. Jules Undersea Lodge, they won't have done that before. They will not have had the experience of feeling like they're dying, suffocating in an underwater tomb. They will have never done that before. So
no, it's a can't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got birthdays coming around the corner here,
graduation season right now. Might want to do an underwater wedding. Those have become so popular right now.
Just they're the thing. They're hot right now.
So here's the best explanation that I'm just gonna like run through this quickly. The entire structure of Jules Undersea Lodge is underwater, sitting up on legs approximately 5 feet off the bottom of the protected lagoon. The lodge is filled with compressed air, which prevents the water from rising and flooding the rooms. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, happy to hear that.
Hope that air stays in there. A 5 by 7 foot moon pool entrance in the floor of the building makes entering the hotel much like surfacing through a small swimming pool. Divers find themselves in the wet room, the center of 3 compartments that make up the underwater living quarters. The wet room, as the name implies, is where divers leave their gear, enjoy a quick hot shower, and towel off before entering the rest of the living area. Designed for comfort, the air-conditioned living space, so it does have air conditioning, has 2 private bedrooms and a common room. The 8 by 20 foot common room is a multi-purpose room providing the galley, dining, and entertainment areas. Jules Lodge is equipped with an intercom, Wi-Fi, Amazon Fire Stick, and DVDs so you can watch some of our suggested movies. But the main focus of attention is the big 42-inch round window that graces each room. Waking up to a pair of angelfish looking in your bedroom window is a moment you'll never forget. So there you go.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Very
so you
nice.
basically swim up under it, and then you come up through basically, I guess, an opening in the floor, and you climb into the wet room.
Wow.
Also, that common area is 8 foot by 20, which means you can't even lay out. It's 8 feet wide. Like, it's just a long tube, basically. It's like a hallway. It goes to show you never know what we're going to talk about in the show. We've never even heard of Jules Undersea Lodge until this moment. And
sorry I asked. Now you've got me looking at their luxury package. Uh-huh. So you check in after a bit of paperwork and giving us your pizza order. So apparently they will deliver a pizza down to you.
I can't wait to find out how.
Oh my God. I feel like I have to do this. So it's $1,687.50 per couple.
And what comes in the luxury package?
No, pizza and let me see here. Water, soda, iced tea, and snacks. Now, I don't know if you have to bring your own scuba gear. I'm guessing you probably.
It costs that much for pizza, soda, and snacks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who wouldn't do the luxury package? Because you have to eat. There's no other. That is the option. Like, it's just, do you want pizza and snacks? Or do you not want those? I mean, I just kind of feel like there's not an option.
Yeah. Well, they do have an Aquanaut package if you're too bougie for their pizza package.
That's where you get it. That's where the real money is.
It includes all the Jules package has to offer, plus a nice lunch from the Hideout restaurant next door.
We'll bring over someone else's lunch.
So what they do is just hand you $20 and hey, go next door. And then, of course, you get the Jules Aquanaut specialty patty card that we just said was a made-up story. But that you can't get that just with the luxury package. You have to get the Aquanaut package, which is $2,587.50 per couple. Yeah.
Well, it's not cheap, but if you want a special experience, you pay for it.
You go to Jules Underground.
Underwater. Underwater, not underground.
Yeah.
Underground. You might end up underground when you go underwater. Well, one of the things on their website that kind of kills me, I'm looking at this, and of course I understand why they do this. Is very nice. It's like this waving American flag. And it says, Key Largo Undersea Park would like to thank our military, first responders, doctors, and nurses for your service. Stay safe. My concern is, I don't want to have to think about the need for doctors, nurses, and first responders when I'm booking a trip to an underwater lodge. And if they're arriving frequently enough that you have a permanent thing on your website thanking them for their constant service, I feel like there may be issues from time to time here.
I wonder. Now I got to look up deaths at the Jules Undersea Lodge and see how many pop up.
Yeah, this is they got a whole thing happening.
That is wild.
And hey, shout out! They have their own YouTube channel, so I mean, don't like, yeah. They have their own YouTube channel. In fact, they're probably getting. They might even have more viewers than we do. Jules Undersea Lodge have been doing it a long time, so
that's it.
A lot of good things happening.
Hey, it's not for me, but it's for somebody.
It's for somebody,
hopefully,
and they may still be looking for who, but it's for somebody.
Man, yeah. So hey, anyone listening who wanted a nice place to stay, consider it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just give it some thought. Don't be closed-minded.
Yeah. Use promo code.
Shout out to you, Uncle Jules.
Tell them the Horn Show sent you. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's on a lighter note that doesn't involve dying in an underwater tomb. Saw this article the other day. Had to talk about it. It's the worst thing that could happen other than dying in an underwater tomb. And this was a story that I sent you. I'm going to give you the headline, and then we can talk the details. But a Chicago woman is toothless after going onto a dental reality show for a makeover. They pulled her teeth, and then the network canceled the show, leaving her toothless for the past 6 years. And they told her that legally we have no obligation to complete the dental work per the contract that you signed. I can go on.
What an awful, awful, awful thing to have happened to you.
It is insane. So she's in, I believe, she's in Illinois. And so I'll give you the breakdown here, because it's a funny story. It's a shocking story, but it's also on some levels, if you really put yourself in this woman's shoes, it's a pretty terrible story. So she goes on the show on the Lifetime network. It was a 2015 Lifetime reality show called Smile. And she was going to be getting thousands of dollars worth of dental work done for being a contestant on the show. And so dentists pulled 20 of her teeth to make way for what producers told her would be permanent dental implants. And they told her, a producer texting with her said that the implants would be coming, but first her mouth needed time to heal from just having 20 teeth pulled. So they said, we can't do the implants yet. You got to heal up. And they gave her dentures in the meantime, but she said they're too painful for her to even wear every day. She followed up about the implants, but once production wrapped on the show, producers stopped returning her phone calls. All the communication stopped, she said. 2 years of pushing later, she got an email from an executive producer saying that Smile was no longer in production. Well, spoiler alert, it's been 2 years. Smile's no longer in production, and under the terms of their agreement, they weren't responsible for any medical treatment.
Oh my gosh.
How is that legal? How is that possible? How can that happen?
Man, this is like, look at everything you sign. I mean, it's got to be somewhere in that contract. And I'm confused as to contestant on a dental show. What are you like? Contestant would mean like, maybe they just phrased that wrong. Like, what are you in competition with? Like, maybe they used the wrong.
Who was
word.
willing to have the most teeth pulled by the show?
Right? Yeah. Like, and this is a wild concept. Like, what were you going to win or lose? I mean, I'm
guessing it was a makeover show. And, you know, I don't think she was a
okay.
contestant. I'm guessing. I mean, they said contestant. This is
Maybe
CBS
they
News,
just-
by the way.
yeah.
So it's pretty reputable. They said contestant. I think it's just participant. And she's on the
would
show.
make more
and then,
sense. Like I don't. Yeah. What is the contest here to see how long I can go without teeth? I guess she wins. I don't know. Poor
It's got a long
thing.
time.
Was
And
she
she's
old?
only 34 years old.
Oh,
She's
no, come
34 years old. So she's in the prime of her life with no teeth. She has some teeth on the bottom, but she has no teeth on the top.
I mean, how could ethically you pull 20 teeth at once? Is that I don't know if I've ever heard that before. And then
I don't know over what period of time, because I don't know how you could have 20 teeth pulled at one time. I mean,
yeah, but then at the same time, like implants, you can't just put 20 implants in at once.
no.
Like if they're the implants that I know of implants, there is a rod that gets
You're
shoved up
screwing
in
them
there,
up.
and then that has to heal.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they'll put whatever the fake tooth over it or whatever, to build the tooth around it. But you can't walk around with just like 20
Metal
spikes hanging
screws.
out of your mouth. What in the world?
No idea. No idea. It's the worst thing you can imagine. And so CBS reached out to Lifetime and the production company, and no one was responsive. And so they did speak to a New York-based dentist who worked on the show, and that dentist was unaware of the lady's complaints. But the dentist said, quote, I'm sorry. The dentist said, quote, "I wish her well. She got unbelievable care and definitely had a beautiful smile when the treatment was completed," the dentist said, referring to her dentures. Obviously not the horror show smile that she would have had with just lots of screws sticking out of her gums waiting for the actual implants to be able to be put in. But the dentures, she had a beautiful smile, and that's all they'll say about it.
So neither the production company nor Lifetime just responded, and they just let it go.
I
Like
guess.
this is what I've always said. Like when you say something online, or when you like someone says something that's like mildly offensive, or just don't say anything, because eventually people apparently will just grow tired of it. You come out with these apologies, and then everyone then attacks you.
Yeah.
Just don't say nothing at all. Apparently it works for Lifetime. How can Lifetime not make this correct? I mean, I'm pretty sure Lifetime has $50,000 laying around to get this poor woman's teeth fixed.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, it just doesn't seem possible that you could be in this situation. And again, somebody like Lifetime is a big enough network. Yes, they could throw a couple bucks at this and make it go away.
Yeah.
I don't know how it can't be a lawsuit, but it does. I mean, based on the fact that nothing has happened, it tells you that that paperwork or that contract must have been pretty good, because she hasn't sued them, whatever it is, 6 or 8 years later. So,
or, it's a situation where she can't afford a lawyer, or, something like that. I'm sure, I don't want to necessarily stereotype here, but I'm assuming if you needed 20 teeth pulled, you're not running around with millions of dollars in the bank, right? I mean, so you're preying on these people, promising them this stuff, and then you just up and just vanish. That's horrible. I mean, has no one ever tried to start a GoFundMe or anything for this poor girl? I mean,
seriously,
it shouldn't be the job of like caring people to take care of her, but nothing has happened since then. Oh, that's just awful.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. This is what happens, man. Yeah, you prey on these types of people, people that just, obviously she couldn't afford dental work, or she would have already been to a dentist before she needed 20 teeth pulled.
Right.
So you find these people, and then you just completely screw them over, man. That is just scumbaggy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
man.
apparently what they did was they never got to the point of prepping for any implants. They pulled all the teeth. Then they let her heal up, and they gave her the dentures in the meantime. And then that was it. They never put anything in to prep for any implants. It was just like, all right, well, never mind. The show's not going to happen now, so you're out of luck. But, you just get no freaking teeth. So
Wow, that's just awful. And like I'm assuming it won't take, wouldn't take like 8 months to heal up from having 20 teeth pulled.
Yeah.
So you went out of production that quickly? Like
she says they told her that she needed to heal for a year.
A year?
And here's what's crazy. Okay, now, so here's the thing. The plot thickens a little bit. Because I'm going to have to put a little bit of blame on her here. They told her she would need a year to heal. And then she says she waited nearly 2 years before even reaching back out to them. So you mean to tell me on the 366th day, you didn't reach out and say, okay, I'm ready. You waited a whole nother year before you even attempted to reach out to them. So at that point, she waited 2 years. And then she said it was too late. The dentist told her that Lifetime producers had told them to stop any work related to the show.
Wow.
In an email exchange between the producers of the show and this lady, the producer shrugged off any responsibility for any future dental work, saying that it was made clear to Alan that, quote, any future work outside the scope of the show would be your responsibility. Now, she does have a GoFundMe.
Oh, she does. Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to click on it and see exactly where she's at. She's trying to oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Not every GoFundMe needs a picture.
We can visualize it with
Looked like I was back at Jules Undersea Lodge for a moment. I don't know what I saw at the bottom of the lagoon. So she has a total of a $30,000 goal, and she has raised a total of $1,768.
We need to put this on our website.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to put this up on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get it trending. And
yeah, we'll try to push this.
Oh, that's awful.
This lady's name is Brooke Allen.
Now, this thing you sent to me was from the Daily Loud, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That was where I found the initial clip, then I did some research and found more stuff. CBS News. I mean, other people have picked up the story.
Have nobody put her GoFundMe? Like CBS hasn't put their GoFundMe on their page or Daily Loud?
Well, that's what I'm looking at now to try to figure out, because I never saw it. So I'm trying to figure out how long. Like, will it show on here when she's had, like, when this thing got put up?
I think so. If you go all the way down.
Oh yeah, it was just created. It was created April 14th of 2023.
Okay, so maybe right around the time when before or after the article came out.
Yeah. So she got a little bit of attention from that, I guess, and then decided to try to put up a GoFundMe. So it's been up for a little over a month, 5 weeks, something like that. And so she's trying to raise $30,000. She has $1,768. So here's what we'll do, right? Right now, here in real time on this show, I'm going to take a second and you and I will record a little thing encouraging our subscribers on YouTube, our listeners on the podcast, to check out this GoFundMe for Brooke Allen, the lady who had her teeth pulled by the Lifetime Network for a dental show called Smile, and then they shut the show down and they left this lady with no teeth whatsoever. She has her GoFundMe. We will put it out on our YouTube channel, and we will try to help get some money raised. And we're going to ask people to leave something in the comments as well. Let us know when you make a donation, so that we know how many of our listeners have gone on to improve this lady's life. But I gotta believe that there's a way that we can bring some awareness to this, right?
Sure. Let's support Brooke, since Lifetime won't apparently support this poor lady.
Yeah. Lifetime, do the right thing, and if you won't, then we're going to see if we can help out in some way. She has gotten some donations. Again, she's raised $1,768, but that's on a $30,000 goal. So
I don't think she's off that far off either from what that would cost them.
Yeah, I would have thought 50,000. So I mean, 30. I think it's very realistic.
I think that's probably pretty close. Yeah. Maybe she can get a discount for doing multiple.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, is our buy one get one on this? I mean, buy 10 get 10. Oh, that's awful. Oh,
terrible.
yeah.
So Brooke Allen, we're pulling for you. We're gonna see what we can do to help you out a little bit and get some daggone teeth taken care of. That's people wake up sometimes, they think their life's miserable or they're having a bad day or whatever's going on. All the cards are stacked against you. You just can't get any breaks. There's a lady out here, and this lady's married. She's got a family and everything else. For 8 years now, she hasn't had any teeth. She went from thinking that this was going to be this amazing opportunity for her to have all these beautiful brand new teeth put in. Turns into a freaking nightmare where she has all of her teeth pulled. She had horrible teeth before, but at least she had teeth. It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, unbelievable.
So anyway, that's that. We've done our good deed. Let's flip it over to the NFL. We had a little bit of conversation about this recently, and I really wanted to kind of focus on this just a little bit for a few minutes because I thought this was kind of an interesting little statistic as it pertains to NFL kickers. This is from Warren Sharp, Sharp Football. We've talked before. Warren Sharp is he's sharp, right? He does great things. And this article, I thought, or not even an article, it's just a little stat thing that he put out, I believe, on Twitter. The top 10 most accurate kickers in NFL history with a minimum of 70 attempts and the round that they were drafted. Okay? Follow me? Best kickers, most accurate kickers in NFL history and the round they were drafted. Number 1, Justin Tucker, undrafted. Number 2, Eddie Pinheiro, undrafted. Number 3, Young Hoku, undrafted. Number 4, Daniel Carlson, 5th round. Number 5, Harrison Butker, 7th round. Number 6, Matt Gay, 5th round. Number 7, Josh Lambo, undrafted. Number 8, Mike Vanderjagt, undrafted. Number 9, Robbie Gould, undrafted. Number 10, Kai Forbath, undrafted. So a total of 7 out of the top 10 most accurate kickers in history were not even drafted in the NFL. And of the other 3 that were, no one was drafted higher than the 5th round.
Wow. And that was
so the value on kickers is very interesting to me. Like, I just think that is a position that is so important in the game. Kickers make the difference in games so often. And again, some people will be able to see the helmet. I've just by pointing it, it became unblurred. I've got this my autographed Lamar Jackson Ravens helmet right there. That's right. Yours is not yours. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I was just saying the hand of God was reaching down to continue to keep that blurred. But the point is, so we've both been on team or had teams. Our teams have had good kickers. You had Chris Boswell forever. I've had Justin Tucker forever. Like, this is, we've been blessed with good kickers. But again, Justin Tucker was an undrafted kicker, and he's by most accounts the greatest kicker in history. Yeah. And then also, who's my boy, Adam Vinatieri, undrafted, because we talked about him for our best undrafted free agents in NFL history. Little thing that we talked about, which people can find under our videos on YouTube. But he was on that list. So kicker is a thing that is so important in games and to teams. But then the flip side of that is, as important as they are, people do not spend draft capital on kickers. No,
they certainly don't. I mean, and I guess, there's 32. There's only one position for a kicker, right? So it's not like a tackle, or you can slide him over to, left or right, or, a guard.
Yeah, you don't need 2 or 3 of them on every team.
Right. So you're not going to have multiple kickers. You probably have one kicker, and then some. I don't even know if all of them carry to be honest. I mean, I'm not even sure if that's a thing. So you figure there's how many NCAA football teams through all the divisions, and they all have a kicker. So, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds compared to only 32 NFL teams. So I get why they're not drafted quite as high. You have some. Sebastian Janikowski was a first-round draft pick. I don't. If you had a chance to get a Justin Tucker, Young Wei Koo, Eddie Pinheiro, Daniel Carlson, even in the 5th round, if you had a chance to get those guys, and like if you knew what they were about, like wouldn't you take a chance on them? I mean, what do we got? We got the Niners who just drafted the kid from Michigan in the 3rd round.
Yeah, Jake Moody, and I believe it was the 3rd round that they drafted Jake Moody. And again, man, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the highest that any NFL kicker has been drafted since Roberto Aguayo. And I believe Aguayo was drafted in 2016, if I remember correctly. And obviously that did not pan out.
No,
and so historically speaking, there's not a ton of benefit to drafting a kicker with a really high draft pick. And so, I mean, they have to be really confident in what they have with Jake Moody, to make that move.
And this is what I guess I would love to understand. We need to try to find like a scout or someone that can kind of break down, like, what do you look for in a kicker? Yeah. Sure, there's like the obvious, someone that, on a low Division I team who can, you can just tell, he can barely kick a 30-yarder, right? But you've got some guys that can kick, that maybe not even asked to kick more than 35, 40 yards. Like, you're not seeing many NFL and many college kickers kicking 55-yard field goals. You just don't see that. No. But what is it that you would look and see in a kicker that would tell you, yeah, this is a guy we want to either draft or we want to hit up after the draft?
Yeah.
Like what is it about them that you would see, and how would you miss, like, 32 teams passed 7 different rounds on Justin Tucker?
Yep.
Like, if you knew what you knew about Justin Tucker, what round would you probably take him in?
I mean, what round would you take the best ever at any position in, right? I mean, I'm not going to say you're going to take him with the number 1 overall pick, but man, if you knew the number of games that the Ravens have won because of having Justin Tucker at the kicker position, I got to think you honestly probably would give up a first to be able to know that position is settled. And the Ravens have been in such a unique position because prior to that, they had Matt Stover at the kicker. Yeah. Matt Stover's in the Ravens Ring of Honor. I mean, is a great, great kicker. And he's coming toward the end of his career. And then they bring in a Justin Tucker as an undrafted free agent out of Texas. And then this dude takes over, and then he becomes the greatest kicker in NFL history. So, I mean, the Ravens haven't had kicker concerns literally since they have existed, because when the Browns moved over to Baltimore, Matt Stover was on that Browns team. So he was with the Ravens from day one. And so the 2 kickers, for all intents and purposes, for the Ravens over that period of time were Matt Stover and now Justin Tucker throughout this entire period of time. And when you think about the fact that Justin Tucker was undrafted, I mean, it's pretty amazing to not have to invest draft capital in that position and be able to be settled for that period of time. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No,
and I will say, just for the record, Matt Stover, when he got drafted, he did get drafted. He got drafted in the 12th round because they did a lot more rounds back then. So Matt Stover, for all intents and purposes, was an undrafted kicker. Matt Stover, when he got drafted, goes round 12, pick 329. So there's basically that is definitely an undrafted player. So and meanwhile, Matt Stover is the NFL's 6th all-time leading scorer. He scored 2,004 points in his career. And so again, the total between Matt Stover and Justin Tucker, 20 plus years, and the total amount invested from draft capital would have been a 12th round draft pick, which sounds crazy to even say nowadays because there's just no such thing as that.
Wow. That's it. That is like completely crazy. Yeah. Insane. I mean, your first pick that year, if I'm looking at this right, for some reason, maybe you guys traded out of the first 2012. Your first pick was Courtney Upshaw, linebacker out of Alabama.
Yeah,
the 35th pick. And would you rather have had Courtney Upshaw or Kelechi Osemele was your next pick? Tackle?
KO was a good one for quite a while. He was a good
for a
he
while.
was a good one.
Yeah. I'm just looking though. Bernard Pierce was your third round pick. I mean, it's wild because you look at it. Gino Gradkowski was you took him in the fourth. I mean,
that's Bruce Gradkowski's brother, I believe. I believe if I remember correctly, right. Gino played at Delaware. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you have that up, was he a Delaware guy?
He was a Delaware guy.
Delaware Blue Hens, there, home of Joe Flacco.
Oh, Flacco!
The old fighting Blue Hens out of University of Delaware. So That's it. So, but yeah, I mean, you look at that and you look at that list. Would you take a Justin Tucker over a Courtney Upshaw? I mean, now hindsight being 2020, well, of course you would, right? In reality, you would think, well, that's not nearly the impact position. So you need a Courtney Upshaw or something like that. But man, I mean, I guarantee you, Justin Tucker has won far more games for the Ravens than Courtney Upshaw ever did.
Yeah, and you think about it, most, if not all, I would have to say, I'd have to look it up, but your kicker is probably going to be your highest scoring player on your team too.
Absolutely, always are.
Yeah, and so you'd think you would want to take them higher, but I guess just because there's so many of them, I guess that's just why you don't. I don't know. That's wild, though. Yeah,
pretty crazy. So I got one more thing, and then I think we can go ahead and start wrapping this sucker up because I'm conscious of how long we've been going already. So I think where I'm going to go with this one because I saw this story and I just think it needs to be talked about. And I don't know what it means. Maybe it'll mean nothing. But UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya's ex-girlfriend is taking him to court for half of his wealth because they, quote, they dated too long and she supported his career. So they're not married. They have no kids. They just dated a long time. And she is now trying to take him to court and get half of his money. Yeah.
Is there a common law situation involved or
not sure? I have not seen anything. Would that even
matter? Yeah. Would that even matter? Whew. Imagine if that wins.
I know. It's going to change a whole bunch of stuff.
I mean, you're going to have prenups just to date.
Yes. I mean, really think about that, how crazy that is.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem possible.
For 2, 3, 4, 10 years.
Yeah.
And you guys break up and then she takes you to court and gets half your earnings. You have to give her half of your pension because the courts say, well, you were together this long, so she supported you while you went to school to get that master's degree.
That's right.
So you owe her this, You
owe her half of your money.
Yeah. Whew.
So Israel Adesanya came out and he put an Instagram story out or something. And he said, you don't care about my life because you've sold info about me. So I don't care about yours. I don't even hate. I just don't care about you. I've not been in love with you for a while.
Stop.
In summary,
that is the ultimate insult.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I just don't care about you.
I don't care about you. I don't hate you. I don't even care about you. Oh,
I've not been in love with you for a while. In summary, I'm glad this happened. I wouldn't change an effing thing. So some hard feelings there between UFC champ Israel Adesanya and his ex-girlfriend. The other thing too is who is going to be the guy that dates her next? I mean, like, seriously, like, okay, so wait a minute, your last boyfriend, you sued him for half of his money because you dated him a long time? Like, no, I'm good. I don't think I want to go down that road.
No, we're fine. Yeah. I'll keep moving.
Just goes into, again, the craziness of what the world is and is coming to and everything else that these things happen, right? I mean, there's just no excuse.
All right, can she be defended in any way, shape, or form on this? Like,
I don't know enough to know.
Financially support him? Okay, let's say she did. She financially supported him. She helped manage his money.
Yeah.
She, I don't know, she drove him back and forth to practice because he doesn't have a driver's license, for 10 years or whatever. Yeah. Does she have a right then?
Not to have his money.
Could you make a case for a quarter of his money? Could you make?
Look, I would say no under any circumstances. But I'm not going to say that there couldn't be a payout of some amount, right? But again, there's accountability. We're adults. We make adult decisions. And if she chose to spend that time, if you're suing him now to get half his money, it must only be because you thought you'd get married and then you'd get half his money, right? Right? You thought this, and then it's kind of like you're getting screwed on the deal. So no, I want what I should have been able to get if I divorced him. And I think that's just a weird precedent. I don't know. I understand there could be a payout of some type. Throw her $100,000. The guy's worth millions of dollars. If you needed to, but half of everything that the guy has made seems a little steep. Seems a lot steep.
I would love to see that. What that court document. Just I would love to just see what it is and why she feels she's entitled to half of it. So
yeah.
Hey, and you know what? Here, this is we can go back to middle ground views. Like, why are you dating someone for this long? Like,
all right.
At that point, right? If he's not going to get married to you, why are you with him at that point, right? So now, that does. Why were you with him that long?
And maybe he saw something in you that made him not want to marry you. Maybe he knew you were this type of a person and was just like, no. I got to protect myself. I don't trust her. And lo and behold, she's revealed her true colors. It's hard to know. We don't know enough. We can't be totally anti her. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's worth looking at to say, okay, you dated a long time. And yet, if this was so bad for you, why'd you keep dating him? What was the reason that you would stick around for so long?
Right.
Who's to say?
Years. They're like a flag that pops up at some point in in women's mind. But then if you don't care if you get married, then how can you really care then that you're not going to get half of it, right? I'm sure he spent lavishly on you. I would assume so anyways. Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
But marry you after a year or 2 years or 3 years, unless you're dating when you're like 15 years old, I don't know, man. On you at that point, I'm pretty sure he said a lot without saying nothing at all, right? Yeah, and so then it goes back. Yeah, if that was her point to get married and have all this money, then maybe
probably the wrong person.
Yeah, maybe he knew that, and that's why he decided not to be with you anymore.
It could definitely set an interesting precedent, though. It could set a very, very...
Oh, that'd be a scary precedent, man.
Yeah.
Whew. Man. Yeah. Again, you'd be doing prenups just for dating,
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Pretty weird stuff.
Very.
All right. I think we should probably wrap this sucker up. It's getting pretty deep now. Do you have anything you wanted to touch on before we shut it down?
No, man. Nope. But good show. Go out.
Yeah, man. The voice held up well for you.
Hey, it did all right.
I'll close it out with a little bit of trivia like we like to do on this show.
All right.
And this one's kind of a short story, but I thought when I read it was worth a mention. In 1818, the United States began building a fort near the New York-Quebec border to defend against invasions from Canada. Because in the 1800s, couldn't turn your back on Canada.
Don't trust those Canadians.
Can't trust them as far as you can throw them. So they built a fort near the New York-Quebec border to defend against invasions from Canada. After 2 years of construction, they realized the fort was actually on the Canadian side. So they abandoned it and they named it Fort Blunder.
That's apropos, I suppose.
Yeah. 2 years in the early 1800s constructing a fort And then you realize, oh man, we're on the wrong side of the line. We built this in enemy territory.
Like you can imagine, like the construction foreman is like, holding it up, and then the actual boss comes along and is like, dude, how long have you been holding the map like this? Flips it around. Oh crap.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's big. Like I have a picture of it, and it is a big, what appears to be stone fort on the water. And 2 years of work. 2 years of work building a fort in the middle of nowhere in upstate New York, bordering Quebec, in the woods in the early 1800s. I mean, that would be like, I don't even know what the equivalent of that amount of effort would have to be. I mean, that's like 10 years of work today. Like they put in so much effort to be able to do this.
Yeah, like you're not like training this. This stuff's not coming in by train. You're going to bring this up the water, and this shows you how terrible the those Canadians were. Apparently, they didn't even know about it.
Not the most sophisticated border patrol in Canada. Or they were just like, no, they're still building it. They're still, it's been 2 years now. They're still working on this thing. We haven't had the heart to tell them. We'll just wait till it's done, and then we'll go up and just tell, guys, you can't be here. I'm sorry. You gotta go. You gotta go.
I mean, I want to know that, like, there had to be a specific day and time,
yes,
where they realized they were building it in Canada. I want to know what that conversation was. I'm telling you, someone was holding the map upside down for 2 years, and then they came in and be like, "Please tell me you haven't been holding the map like this forever." Well, of course I have.
How else would you hold a map?
Yeah. Oh.
I'll show myself out.
All right.
Just,
good day.
I'm gonna jump on my canoe. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I'll pick up my check later.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty crazy little bit of history. And also, the last thing I'm going to throw in just before we wrap this thing up here, and not even anything that we really need to talk a whole lot about, but man, I thought it was worth mentioning with the NBA playoffs going on and everything. Just a reminder that with the 76ers getting bounced out of the playoffs, Doc Rivers has now lost 10 game sevens in history. That's 5 more than any other coach in history. He's lost twice as many game sevens as any coach in history.
Man, do you credit him for being in game sevens, or I don't know.
I think you do it first. Like when you're a team that you're trying to get better, and Doc Rivers comes in and he improves you right away, then yeah, you credit him with getting you to game sevens. After you lose 2 or 3 game sevens in a row over years, you fire him because he's not the guy to get you over the hump. And then you no longer credit him for getting you to game sevens because you expect to get to game sevens. It's funny how quickly things change, right? It's like, years back in the 2000s when Rex Ryan was coaching the Jets and they were going to the AFC championship game a few years in a row, but they couldn't get past it. And then it was like, then the expectation is that you should be going to the Super Bowl because you make the AFC championship game every year. And then they just fell apart. And so pretty quickly, your expectations for a team can change. And Doc Rivers, for whatever reason, just does not seem to be the guy to get teams over the hump.
Yeah, that's wild. Dang.
Yeah.
One other thing, it's high time that the NBA forces Michael Jordan and Jimmy Butler to take a DNA test.
Oh. Yes, it is.
High time, I say.
Yes. This is past due.
Past due. We need to know, because I'm convinced at this point.
It's I mean, come on. It's starting to seem a little too obvious.
I'm convinced now. I don't care. I've seen too many videos and I've seen too many things and I've seen him play.
Yeah. And I don't know if DNA makes a jumper look a certain way. I don't know if there's a genetic way you shoot a jump shot. But man, if there is, there's a strong lineage there. There's a strong lineage there because boy, they look similar. They really do.
Grant Williams talking trash,
Oh,
and I don't know if you saw it was I can't I forgive me I can't remember the player was like Jimmy just was looking to be insulted, the same way Jordan was like he's looking
Yeah.
for a reason,
Yeah,
and that's what the
just
guy
give me some
said,
motivation.
and he was like, yeah, Jimmy was just looking like he made up the offense at that point. And then just went off, stole that game, and now 1 game away from advancing as an 8th seed
It's crazy.
to the NBA championship.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be quite a run here to see what Miami's continuing to be able to put together, because the Celtics just got cold at the wrong time, and Miami is just not a team that you want to see in the postseason. And Jimmy Butler is definitely not a player you want to see in the postseason.
No, and good for Coach Spoelstra as well. I mean, everyone really thought like just because of the big 3, that's why he was. He's a good X's and O's guy. Like he's a really, really good coach.
He's proven himself at this point to be the real deal. I mean, he's just consistent wherever he's been. The teams have been productive and good things have happened. So,
I mean, this will be the second time that he'll have, outside of the big 3, that he'll now have, if they win, I guess there's a chance the Celtics
always a chance
could come back and take the next 4, but be second time he's gotten a team to the Miami team to a championship game outside of LeBron and company. So
crazy.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah,
and that's without Tyler Hero. That's they got several key injuries. I don't know if is Mario Chalmers still there. I don't even know.
I'm not sure. Good question.
Or no, not Mario Chalmers. Udonis Haslem. Did he finally retire?
I think he might have retired like last year.
Okay, all right.
That'd be terrible if he did. Can you imagine he retired last year and then it's just like him going this awesome run and they go to the finals? He's like, wait, I waited 26 years for this.
Come on, man.
I'd put him on the roster just for the finals, at least. Just bring him in off the street.
Oh, it's funny.
All right. Well, with that having been said, let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Again, want to welcome all of the new listeners, and we're happy to have you. And we'll do our best to continue to keep you entertained. And until next time, be good to each other. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk soon.
See ya.